delegate mechanism is a function pointer. And events in Angular are derived from which class? Events in Angular are derived from which class? Event emitter. Remember the event emitter is the base class. If anyone asks why Angular cannot use directly JavaScript events, because Angular is decoupled from DOM. If Angular is decoupled from DOM, it cannot directly use DOM events. It should depend on another submediator class, that is event emitter. And we discussed about event arguments. So what is default event argument? Default event argument is $event. In JavaScript, this and event. What is the purpose of this $event? What is the purpose of this event argument, $event? It sends information about the current object and event. Sends information about object and event. Object related information we can access using target. Event related information directly available, right? And we discussed about custom arguments also. We can send our own arguments. Default arguments, our own arguments. We can send both custom and default arguments. Another important, we discussed about the various categories of events. In that, yesterday I explained one example on working with mouse events. Now, another example means just few points I will give you. Here we are having some events related to keyboard. Keyboard events. Mouse events, yesterday I given one example. Mouse over, mouse down, mouse up, mouse move. One example we learned. Keyboard events, actually we have like key up, we have key down and key press. These are actually keyboard events. Key down, key up and key press. Generally, when you hold down a key and release a key, when you hold down and release a key, then it is key press. Am I right? So when you down and release, it is key press. Then what is key press again? Key up means after press down, key up. That means key press. Actually, key up, key down, key press, lot of difference is there. Generally, you should know that actual in your JavaScript. I will tell you, suppose I am typing something like John. If I ask how many keys I pressed, how many keys I pressed here? 3 only. I pressed 3 keys only. Because my cursor is still in N. That means that key is not finished. Key press means it indicates that you finished the key. Finishing the key means you have to finish the key and come out. That means come out means you put space. Now it comes out. When I put space, it comes out. That means now how many keys are pressed? 4 keys are pressed. So when I am typing like this, some David like this, How many keys pressed now? 4 keys pressed, but 5 keys up. 5 keys up, but 4 keys pressed. 5 keys up, 5 keys down, but only 4 keys are pressed. Up means it indicates the action to perform immediately. It indicates the action to perform immediately. Up and down immediate. But press means you should finish the key and use any another key. You finish that key and use another key, then the key press is recognized. Now the doubt is, when should I use key press? When should I use key up and key down? For example, if you are dealing with this is very important. If you are handling any logic with regard to key, or a character or character. So you are handling any logic with regard to key or character. So then use the events key up and key down. But if you are handling any logic with regard to key or character code with their codes, then use key press. We have to use key press. This is important. If you are writing any logic and that logic is about the key you used, that means have you typed A, have you typed B, have you typed $, have you typed @. If you are handling some logic which is related to the keys, the characters, then you use key up and key down. If it is not related to the keys, if it is related to codes, then you have to use key press. Code means what? Suppose every key have ASCII codes, like uppercase A, it is 65, and uppercase Z, it is 90. Every key have a code. If you are writing any logic with relation to codes, then key up, key down will not be correct. Because key up, key down will not return key codes. If they don't return key code, then you cannot use any logic related to key code by using which events? Key up and key down. I will tell you example why we need key code. For example, we are writing some password. In password, we have to verify a capital letter entered or not. If capital letter entered, we need to show a warning, caps is on. We need to show the warning, caps is on. How do we know capital letter entered or not? For that, we can use its code. If any character code is between 65 to 90, that means it is in which letters? Uppercase, capital letters. That means our logic is not about which character he typed, which capitalization he typed, it is important. That means we are not verifying the character, we are verifying the character's code. If you are dealing with code, you have to use which one? Key press. Why we should not use key up and key down for codes? Because key code is recognized only when key is finished. Key up, key down doesn't represent key finish. Key finish means which event? Key finish means which event? Key press. Key press only indicates key finish. And codes will come only when key is finished. When key is finished, then only code will come. So if you are dealing any logic related to code and you are using key up, key down, it will fail. If you are dealing anything related to code, then always use which event? Key press. So the point is why we should not use key up and key down. Key down cannot return the key code or character code, cannot return key code and character code. Usually they are returned only with key press. Only with key press. That is the reason we have to depend on that, right? So based on what is the character code we are typing, you have to handle it. I will show you one simple example for this. Let's see one simple example. So we will go into the design here in the event binding itself. Let's clean up this. I am writing some logic right here. I am creating a simple page here. Mouse over, nothing is there. Yeah. Now I am designing a simple register user, and we will create a data list with the data term as user name and data definition. Input type is equal to text. Now there is another here data definition. Okay, another data term is password. Password and input type is equal to password. First, let's write the logic for this username. So let's access localhost. And this is the register form we are having. Okay, in this form, user have to enter username. So when user is entering username, we will put some data here. I am just using public, some users. Users is an object, array of objects. It's an array of what type? Object type. It's an array of object type. What type of array of object? It is an any type of array of objects. Or you can create one contract and put that contract here. If you want simple, just you can mention array, any type array, and it is having object. This have user name. User name is some details. Some user details I am giving here. Let's put some details in a new line. I will keep. Yeah. Username, we are having some name. Some John is username. And another username I am having like, so John12. And another username we are having like, so John at underscore NIT, like this. We have some usernames. Okay, these are usernames we are having. We have a users collection. That user collection is having some username. Now what should happen is, whenever user enters the username, because we are designing a registration form, whenever user enters username, it should verify and it should show message whether that username is available or taken. If user enters new name, it should say available. If he enters the name which is already taken by somebody, then it should display the message taken. How this matches actually is, username should be verified for every character. That means one character changed means username me available. One character matching means username is taken. For example, for every character we should verify. Suppose here we are type the already users John is there. We have John 1 2 is there, and John underscore NIT like this is there. Now what I am doing here, I am typing username, I am typing J. That means it is available. So O, it is available. H, it is available. N, it is taken. That means one character matching means it is taken. So I will use John 1. It is available. So 1, 2 again taken. That means for every character, immediately it should verify. Immediately it should verify. So see what is the logic we are writing here. So first we have to collect the value entered here. When to collect? When user is typing. That means we are using an event here. So here we will write a method public verify user. Verify user, and this is expecting what is the value they are typing. It is expecting the value they are typing. Directly we can send the value from the text box because we learned event arguments now. Through event arguments, we can send the value that they are entering in the text box directly. So here we are expecting user name. Here we are expecting E. E is what type? Any. This is event argument. All event details and object details we can access through this. Now what we will do? Here we will write simple. Here we will say event. Event is key up. On key up, verify user. Into that, we need to pass the current value that they are typing in the text box. So we will pass an default argument $event. $event can send all details about this text box. So this is collected here. Now in this we want only value na. We need to verify only value. So we will write like this. We will use this is the collection. We need to verify whether the value they are typing is matching with this or not. How to collect the text box value? To collect the text box value, we have to use what? E dot target. Target dot what? Value. This indicates what value they are typing in the text box. So I am writing a for loop for where user of what is the collection this dot users. We are reading every user from users, and we are verifying if user dot user name is matching with E dot target dot value. That means if it is matching with the value they are entering in text box. If they are matching with that, then we need to put some error message na. We will declare one more property, user error, and is what type? String. It is currently empty. We will put that user error message. This dot user error should display. It should display user ID, username taken. It should display username taken and try another. After that, it should stop this for loop. Then we know we have to use a break. You know this logic now, right? That means if it is matching, display the message. Now stop the loop. If it is not matching, then what should happen? This dot user error we will keep empty, or we will put here say user name available. That message we will keep. This is a simple logic we are writing. And where to display this user error? We want to display that user error here. Here we will display in the binding expression, we have to display user error. Now what happens here? I click inside this, I start typing John, it says available. J is available. And I say JOHN, John, it is taken. It is taken and try another. And John 1, it is available. And John 1, 2, it is taken. For every character, it is verified. Now, of course, yesterday, last session, we learned how to change the color of that message. If it is taken, it should be red color. If it is available, it should be green color. How you will change the message? We can change the message, color only change. If you want to change the color of this particular definition, then we have to use style or class binding. Na? We have to use style or class binding. So we will write one thing. Here we will put another is public is valid. I am just using is valid. Is valid is a Boolean type. Is a Boolean type. And by default it is false. Now is invalid I am giving. Is invalid is by default false. If username is already taken, then invalid must be true. Na? This dot is what? Invalid is what? True. Otherwise, what we need to define, this dot is invalid is equal to false. That's what we have to do. Now, here we will put a condition here. What is the condition is nothing but here we have to apply the color. By using, I am using ng class. ng class. How to turn on and off the classes? We have to use an object reference now. There is a bootstrap class called text danger. Text danger, this will get the value from is invalid. It will get the value from is invalid. It will get from is invalid. If invalid is true, it will be in which color? It will be in red color. If not, it should be in green color. Na? We have to put another. Later, when you learn error handling, you can simplify this. As of now, we have to write such properties. Now, what happens? I am entering here. It is available. And John, it says taken. John 1 is available. Suppose what I am doing here, I am using another class. What is that class? We are using text success class. Text success class, I am giving true. Text success, I am giving true. That means it is username available. John, it is taken. That means always it will be green if it is not invalid. Text success means green color. And I entered some here, John 1, it is again green color. John 1, 2, it is again red. So class and style binding, they may look very simple. They may look like general, why we need so many styles and effects. But without them, there is no design of form. In real-time environment, every situation of form, we have to use class and style binding because validations, errors, effects, and appearance are important. These days, we don't prefer showing lot of messages. We prefer visually notifying the user. That means we don't waste our time in showing lengthy messages. We will simply put red color. He knows that there is some problem. We simply put green color. He knows that everything is fine. That means we indicate the users with colors rather than messages. Those days gone. Earlier, we used to write lot of lengthy messages, error messages. These days, only colors are enough to display that. Initially, this is one important. See the interesting point here. I will change the event to key press. I change the event to key press. Key press is not good for this situation. Why it is not good for this situation? Are we dealing with codes? We are not dealing with codes here. Then key press is not good. You can understand that. See, suppose I am typing here username J. It is available. JOHN. It is still saying available. That is wrong. It is still saying available. I hope you know why it is still saying available. Because N is not finished. Na? N is not finished. We will put a space. We will put a space. When I put a space, it is saying. How can be space? Even space counts. We have to trim the spaces. In a password, even a space is invalid. Right? That is the reason this is not a good event. So which event is good for this? Key up, or we can use key down. Key up or key down. This is best for this. If you are dealing with codes, then it is required. So for example, let's see password. Password, I am just giving another data definition. Here I will put a class as text warning. Okay. And here I will put a span class bi exclamation triangle. I will use I will use an exclamation triangle fill, and I will say caps on. That is the warning message we are having, caps on. We are giving a warning message, caps on. But this should display when user is typing some capital letter. And how he can type capital letter? By using caps lock or by using shift key. Even we can use an alt key also. Through alt key also we can type capitals. That means a capital letter can be used in any way. In that case, we have to verify whether they entered a capital letter or not. Okay, we will do one thing. We will go to the logic, and here we are writing another method, public. This is verify password. Okay. This verify password have to collect the value E, any type. And we will put here, remember that should show and hide. I will just use an option, public. Is password error visible? We will set it as false. Is password warning visible? Password warning visible. Warn visible. Password warn visible is false. Now I will apply this here. I will apply to this block. Remember, this warning block must be displayed if there is any error. If capital letter is entered, then this warning block should display. Otherwise, it should hidden. How to add and remove this block? To add and remove this block, we have to use which directive? ng if. ng if na? ng if. It is getting the value is password warn, right? Is password warn what? Visible. Is password warn visible? By default, it is false, na? False means it is not adding that message there. When it should add the message, when user is typing. Now this time I am using key press. because this time I have to verify is a capital letter entered or not. Capital letter entered or not depends on not the character, depends on its code. Then what we will do here, we will use, so verify password. Into verify password, we are passing $event. $event. We will collect that here, and here we will check if how to get the key codes. It is key codes and character codes we can get by using event argument, direct event argument. Key code, character code, alt key, switch. I told you shift key. Yesterday, client X, client Y. These are object related properties or event related properties. They are all event related properties. So what we have to do, we have to write a condition. If E dot key code is greater than or equal to 65 and E dot key code is less than or equal to 90, that means it is in capital letter. If the key code is between 65 to 90, it is in capital letter, then this dot is password warn visible. This will be true. Otherwise, this dot is password warning visible will be false. If it is capital letter, warning should be visible. If not, it will should be removed. Now that's simple logic here. This time we are using not key up. If I write key up, key down, it will not work properly. Why? Because key up, key down cannot return the key codes. Who can return the key codes? Key press. So now you can see I'm entering username. It is available. Now it is taken. Now it is available. That is how we define. One more important, once they finish typing, now what should happen? It should be hidden. Then for that we need to write one more event. What is that event? How you verify that they finish it typing? That is called blur. We call that as blur. In next concept I will tell you, because they are related to state events, element state events. Element state events means focus, blur, all these comes under element state events. So here initially this is okay, username available. Now click password. I'm entering password. There is no problem. You can see there is no problem. But accidentally or intentionally a capital letter entered, it will say caps on. It will show the warning caps on. Now I remove that and typing again normal. Accidentally a capital letter is entered anywhere capital letter is entered. There I am entering a capital letter V, then it says caps on. And I remove that, now it is fine. So it is verifying whether the capital letter entered or not. If you are dealing with the codes, then key press. If you are dealing with the characters, then we have to use key up and key down. These are important keys related options that is related to keyboard events. This is example I will give here. So here we will define. So event demo dot component dot ts. This is the event binding. Event binding. This is the another one, event binding. Binding dot component dot html. HTML code is this one. Okay, this is related to keyboard events. So we have mouse events. Another one we are having keyboard events. Another, generally we have element state events. We have element state events. Element state events like we have focus. We have like blur, we have like blur, we have like change, we have like selection start. Actually, it is selection start, select start. This comes under so element state related events. Focus, blur, change, select start. These are these events. Actually, element state events. Focus means element gets focus. Blur means element loses the focus. Change means value is changing. So, and select start means user is selecting, dragging. That is actually comes under element state events. For example, see, suppose here, after here I am writing one more option. Here I am writing a simple option is this is blur. Blur. On blur, so I will say verify required. Okay, this is the function. Into that also I am passing dollar event. Now I will write another here. So public verify required, and it is expecting any. Okay. Now I need to verify whether there is a value inside it or not. That means I will just use a condition if e dot target dot value is equal to empty. That means nothing is entered. If nothing is entered, then this dot user error, we will put a message. So user name required. And we will put this dot. So is invalid. Is invalid is what? True. Invalid is true. Otherwise, this dot user error should be empty. No message should be displayed there. Now see what happens here. This verify required we are giving on which event? Blur. Blur means when it loses the focus. That means you see now, I click inside the text box. Without typing anything, I click outside. Without typing anything, I click outside. It says username required. That is good. That means you are checking, are they entering the name? I click here and start typing that. That means username available. Now username taken. And I finish that blur, and you can see username is there. Then it will not display anymore. But remember, so here I entered some name, so that is available. And I click outside, it is hidden again because it is already there. Na? We written logic that if not empty, then it will be empty. It will not display message. But if username is taken, it should still show that message. Again, logic we have to write. For every concept, you have to write a condition. This is blur event. Blur means when element loses the focus. Element loses the focus. We can do lot of things. I just showed you one point, how we can verify is it empty or not. Because in validations, this is very common. Generally, we don't validate until user clicks submit button. Because user have to fill up lot of details in a form. And we should not waste the time until user fills all details and click submit. If user is not filling the first field properly, immediately show message. That will be better. That means waiting to enter all details, then reporting all problems. Because earlier what we used to do, user will fill the form. After that, user will submit. Then we will find out the problems and report them. Instead of that, for every field, immediately verify. User clicked in the field and user came out, then immediately display. right? So that is what we can do by using this option. What is it? Blur. Blur indicates what action to perform. So when element loses the focus, and it indicates what action to perform. Suppose you entered some name, it is available, now it is hidden. If you want any action to perform, immediately when user clicks inside, that is called focus. Focus. That means suppose here I will put a simple message here, another data definition. So in this definition, I will keep a message. Yeah. Public, I will say password error. PWD error. That's enough. Yeah. It is what type string and it is initially empty. Now what should happen is when user is typing here, I will say public password focus. On password focus, we will display the message. This was password error. PWD error. PWD error. It should display. So caps not allowed. This message should come. Just roughly we are displaying it. That means now what happens is when user clicks inside that password box, the message should come. Where to display the message? This password error message should display here now. We will use password. Password what? Error. That means now user clicks inside password box. That message should come. Where is it? We have to write event also now. What is the event? Focus. Focus. On focus what? We have to use what is the event? Password focus. We have to write password focus. That is the method to fire up. That means when I click inside the password, it will display. Not allowed. That is focus event. Blur means it will be hidden. That means what we will do, we will write one more event. What is it? Blur. So that means here I written password blur. And what this password blur have to do? Same. Public password blur. This password blur have to this dot password error. Password error is equal to empty. It should not display any message. Don't get confused. I am using sometimes double quote, single quote, right? You can use any. I already told you now. String can be single, double or backticks, right? Yeah. Now you can see here, I clicked inside, it says caps not allowed. I click outside, then it is hidden. That is focus and blur. On focus and on blur, it is displaying the message. You entered the name, then it is there. Password not allowed. This is generally element state related options. So we have blur and we have focus. This is another example. So for blur and focus, this is event. So this is binding dot component dot ts. I will put that here. Event binding dot component dot html. Here we have that html. Change already I given. We created shopping example. Na? In that shopping example, we used change event. Change means when drop down is changing category on change. So we are collecting the name. Here we will see one more example. Let's see one complex example here. It's a simple complex. So example here, suppose you see we have this HDFC bank EMI calculator we will create. You see this is HDFC bank website. In this there is a EMI calculator. In this EMI calculator, you can see they are using some sliders. They are using some slider. When I move the slider, That means the value is changing. This also will change. When I move the slider, the text box value is changing. I selected how much amount loan they want. I selected how many years and I selected how much interest rate and I click on calculate button. Then it should get the monthly installment, how much they need to pay. How much monthly installment they need to pay. That means user is changing the slider, the value will come there. User is changing the months. This is change. And user is changing the interest rate. And click on calculate. It should calculate and display. Actually, to achieve this, lot of concept is required. This is designed by developers in the front end only. This is not Java.NET. This is just pure JavaScript, jQuery, Angular, React. That means these are all such concepts designed in JavaScript, jQuery, Angular, or React like technologies. So the point is how to handle those events, change events. Let's see how to create this one. And remember, to create this one, you should have some common sense also in mathematics. You can't simply blindly write a concept without knowing anything. You can't design such things without having general knowledge on basic formulas. In your JavaScript, you will learn, because do you know the formula for EMI? How to calculate EMI? Do you know formula for that? Then how you will design? You don't know the formula, then how you will design? Website designer should not be a mathematician. It's not necessary that you need to learn mathematics to develop a website. But remember, this is designed by web developers. Right? But he don't know any mathematics. Zero in mathematics. He don't know anything about mathematics. But still he can design it. Why? Because the formula behind this calculation is given by the company. That means HDFC people will give us EMI formula. But that formula that they give to us is a mathematical formula. We have to convert that into a computer formula. Mathematical formulas you cannot write in computer directly. Suppose, see EMI formula. EMI formula. This is EMI formula. This is the EMI formula. That is actually the EMI formula. This is EMI formula. P is amount, principal amount, R is interest rate, and N is number of periods. Now the question is how you will write this in computer technology. In a computer system, how you will write this formula? Power divided by, operators. Operators. So by using those operators, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, you can handle. How you will calculate power? In your Java or .NET or some technology you learned how to calculate power. For example, you are using JavaScript. In JavaScript, the power is calculated by using math.pow. In JavaScript, there is a math object which handles all mathematical operations. Math, SQRT, math, sine, math, cos, math, tan. Mathematical formulas related library is present in almost all computer programming languages. Majority of computer programming languages will support mathematical library. Math library. Java, .NET, everybody have that. But library is different. But concept is changing a mathematical formula into a computer understandable formula. Now this mathematical formula, we need to convert into a computer understandable formula. Then only we can achieve this output. Now let's see how to do that. Let's do one thing now. First, we will design this interface. We will first design this interface. And we need to achieve this functionality. For this, we need events here. Let's see. I will create one component here now. Let's go to the components. ng generate component EMI. EMI. So skip this. I am creating an EMI component. Let's keep this EMI in the startup. App EMI and app EMI. Okay. In app module, we will put EMI component in the startup. So you can see here EMI working fine. Okay. Let's create the design. In that EMI component, I will create the design like this. So div class container fluid, and here we will put so personal loan EMI calculator. Okay, and let's keep this text center. Okay, below this we will keep a div and class border and border 1, border 2, some border dark, and we will use here padding 2 or 3. Okay, in this we will create a div. So class row. In this we have 3 columns. Class call, another div, that is class call, another div, this is class call. So we have 3 classes, 3 columns. So here we have amount you need, and we will put input type is equal to text. Okay, then here I will keep size as suppose 10. Okay, another one is for years. For input type is equal to text. Size is equal to some 4, and here I will say years. So that is what they have. So for years, yeah, interest rate. Here we will use for years. Here we have interest rate. Interest rate. Interest rate input type is equal to text, size is equal to 4, and percent. Like this I given. This is all the content we are having. This is first row. Amount you need for how many years and interest rate. This is what we defined. Let's add another row. Div class row and margin top 3. Here we have again 3 columns. Class call. And here we have another div. This is class call. And here another div. We have class call. 3 columns. In the first column, we will put here ampersand hash 8377 semicolon. That will put an Indian currency symbol. Later you will learn about numeric currencies, how to display in Angular. We have other techniques also. Here I will give minimum amount is some 10,000. Okay, 10,000, and we will put input type is range. Input type is range. So min is 10,000. Max is 10 lakh. Suppose like this I define. So it is 10,000 and 10 lakhs. That's how we define. And here we define maximum is same. Ampersand hash 8377 semicolon, and it is 10 lakhs. Like this we define. This is one slider we are having. Next one, here we have one, and input type is range, and here min is 1 and max is 5 years. This is 5. Another one here. So by default here value we will give 10,000. That is 10,000. Yeah. Now here value I will give as 1. Okay. Later we will change that. Here we have 10.25%. That means that is 10.25%. Input type is equal to range. In this range, we have 18.45%. Here we have min is equal to 10.25 and max is equal to 18.45. You know, there is a step value now. In range, we have a step value 0.1. And the value we will give as some 10.25. Now this is the second row we are having. We are having the second row defining there. This is the option. So we have amount you need, how much, and for years, for interest rate, user can select from the slider. They can select from the slider. After that, I will give margin top 4. There is another row to design. In this row, class row and margin top 4, and we have a div, the class as column, only one column, and we given as here. So text end, we will keep a button. So class BTN primary, and we will say calculate. Calculate. That is what we have to define there. Now we can just keep it text center. That's enough. Okay. Now this is there. Now here we need to first implement the functionality of when user is moving the slider, then that value should come here. So amount you need ampersand hash 8377 semicolon. That is the amount you need. Oh, hash. That is the amount you need. It should display there. Okay, now it should display when user is moving. So we will declare here some important things in the TS file. In the TS file for calculation, I need some values like public. One is a principal is what type? Number type. It should start with how much? 10,000. That is what it should start with. That is the principal amount we are having. Another one, we have R. R is number. This is also number. This is interest rate. Starts with what? 12.25. 10.25. Actually, we can change them later. We have to do a lot of calculation also. We will see that. This is initial value I am giving. So, and public, another one N. N is what? Number. It is how much? Number of periods is 1. 1 year it is having that. Now another one is EMI. EMI is also what? Number, but it is initially not known, 0. Later it will get a value. Okay. Now this PNRN, that is amount, interest rate and number of periods. Here what we are doing is we are defining to this one. we are attaching to these text boxes. That means how to attach to the text boxes. Here, this text box will have a value coming from P. This text box will have a value coming from what? N, number of periods. This value comes from where? R. So that means interest rate. These are the values binded to them. You can see those are the values binded there. By default, those values are here. Now we have to write here an event. This is first slider. This slider have a change. This is amount change. Am I right? And this is change. What is it? Year change. Okay. Into that we will pass dollar event. Here we will pass dollar event. Okay. This one is change. This one will change. This is what? Rate change. Here also event. Okay. We need to write these methods. Public, what is it? Amount change. E, any type. So we need another one. Public year change. And E, what type? Any. Another one is public what? Rate change. E and any. This is how we need to define. Now, when user changes the amount, this dot, principal amount P is equal to E dot target dot what value? We are accessing that value. And this dot rate is equal to E dot target dot value. That means that slider value will come. And here this dot N, this is N, and this is R is equal to E dot target dot value. Now here, these are the options. I am sliding this, it will get that and display. I am sliding this, it will get the years and display. I am sliding this, it is get that interest rate and display. That means when we are changing, it will get that and display. On change, it is updating the value and displaying there. Now what should happen when I click on calculate? So that means when I click on calculate, it should show the amount. That means it should show the EMI, how much they need to pay, the total EMI they need to pay. That means we need to write an event for that. So what is it? Public. So calculate click. So calculate click. On calculate click. So this is the button have which event? Click. Calculate click. On calculate click, we need to calculate that now. And for that, now you need a challenge here. This is the formula to implement. Now your responsibility is convert this into a computer understandable formula. We need to convert this into a computer understandable formula. And in your technology, it will be different. You are using Java, you need to use Java math library. You need to use Java operators. .NET have a math library. It's operators. JavaScript have math library. It's operators. Angular JavaScript only. Right? Angular uses JavaScript. So the point here, how do we implement this formula? Suppose I use a spinning tool. So, and let me copy this formula. And here I will show you a simple one. Let's close this now. Just close it. Okay. And you see, actually, the formula is this is the formula. And we need to convert this formula into our JavaScript formula. Then usually JavaScript formula is written like this. So EMI equal to P is okay. Into means asterisk. Into means asterisk. Asterisk is multiplication. R, after that again asterisk. In after that we have C, that is 1 plus R to the power of n. Then we have to use math.pow. 1 plus R to the power of n, comma n. That's how we write. So this is 1 plus R raised to the power of n. That is how we implement that. After that, divided by na, that means we have to use a slash. Slash again math.pow. This is 1 plus R to the power of n minus 1. That's how we implement. This is how we convert the formula into JavaScript. But here several more conversions are there, because you need to read their formula. How we calculate interest rate. Actually, interest rate is equal to what they entered. How much interest rate is, suppose 12.5, right? 12.45 or some interest rate. So here we have to calculate by 12 by 100. We need to convert the interest rate. How many periods are there? N. N is they given as 2 years. 2 into 12. That means every month installment we have to calculate. That means we need to convert the years into months. That means into 12. If you forget this, you will not get correct values. The formula implementation is important. Many people come and ask like, sir, I am from non-technical background. Can I be a software engineer? You can be a software engineer. For that, you don't need to be technical background, but common sense is required. If you say I am a non-technical background, don't have any common sense, then it is like joke, silly thing. At least general common sense knowledge of calculations, formulas, if you don't have, you can't do. You are not a software engineer. Technical background is not mandatory. At least you should know how we convert these formulas. That you have to learn. You don't need to be technically sound. That means, remember, this is after all only simple bank EMI formula. You have to develop apps for scientific. You need to build apps for school, college like people, means more high scientific formulas will come. If you are developing a website like IIT like people, then you are done, gone. That means you are building artificial intelligence apps. Artificial intelligence apps means no technical background required, general common thinking. Just you need to get the formula from them and convert the formula into the format of your technology. That's it. You don't need technical knowledge, but you need general knowledge. Translating that. Just you need to translate it. That's it. You don't need to know what is principal, what is interest, nothing. You just use that formula, how they defined. Actually, they provide you, clients provide us formulas. We have to implement them. Now see here, let's do this. On calculate click, lot of work more we have to do. What is the lot of work more we have to do here? So we need to handle all these now. On calculate click, we need to collect the value. But remember here, suppose I am accessing on calculate click, I am showing here alert. I am just using alert. I am using here this dot n. This dot n is number of periods. Number of periods into how much? 12. See what happens now. Number of periods, how many I selected? 3. And click on calculate. It says 36. We have to handle that formulas. That means conversions. That means now how do we calculate? Actually, this is how we need to define. That means we are defining the value. So here we are defining the value. Let's check this now. Now how to calculate this? We have to declare now values. That means what we have to do is this dot. First we have to get the principal amount, no change na. Principal amount, no change. But which one should change when you click calculate? Amount, number of periods is equal to this dot n multiplied by how much? 12. What about interest rate? This dot r is equal to what? This dot r divided by 12 divided by 100. That is the interest rate you have to calculate. Now I will show you here alert. I will show you periods, and we will put here this dot n, and in the next line I will add. So rate, I will just roughly I'm printing first to make you understand the concept. This dot r. Now you can see here I selected 2 years. I selected interest rate as 13.25. Calculate, it should get that and display. That is the value it is going to display. Now we need to implement this with EMI. Now your formula comes here. What is that formula? So we have to use this dot EMI is equal to, what is the formula? This dot P into this dot R into math dot what? Power 1 plus R. This dot R na? And this dot n. After that divided by again math dot pow. So 1 plus this dot r comma this dot n minus, that is the formula. We need to convert that into the formula and define it. You need to take the formula from the client, once check how to convert that into your technology, then implement that. Now this EMI should be displayed here. So that means I will put a simple heading somewhere here. Heading, I will say class as text center. And here I am just using your monthly. So monthly installment. Monthly installment is how much? Here we will put a binding expression. So we will put some bold. Already it is heading. We will put some binding span, class, some text info. Okay. Here we will put a binding expression. This is EMI. Am I right? But actually it will show decimal places actually. Then what you can do is, suppose I am using math.round. And what? EMI. This is the formula we need to implement here. But this you have to round and implement there in the logic itself, because you can't write any logic here. We need binding. So just I will print EMI first. For how many years? 5 years. For n years, na? Yeah, here we have to put ampersand hash 8377 semicolon. Later I will tell you how to convert into formula. I will tell you that also now. Later you can implement for how many years? So n years. Am I right? That is the option here. Initially it is displaying like this. For n years, I will give this part outside the span. Okay. Text primary, I will give better. Okay. And this heading, we will put margin top as 4. Fine. This is here. Now, here I am calculating. So amount is some 40, 36. Yeah, 3 lakh, some 60,000 is there. Interest number of periods is some 5. And interest rate is this much. And click on calculate. It will get that. It will calculate that and display. And I don't want this much. 60 years it taken. It should show how much it is months only. Yeah. Because what happening is nothing but these new values are updating there. Then you can do one thing. You can declare a variable here, var n. Am I right? You can declare var r, because what it is doing after doing this calculation, updating there itself. This I can use here. That means what is that? Here instead of r, I will use directly r. Okay. Here also we need to use r. And here we have to use n. Locally we are using. Otherwise it is updating there. That means here we will use r and we will use n. Okay. Then it will not be any effect. Only n. Yes. So that will not affect. Otherwise it is affecting it. Okay. Now select the amount and select the interest, 4 years or 5 years. And the interest rate is how much. And click on calculate. It will get that. But this value we have to round. Actually in Angular it is simple. In Angular you can put here a pipe called currency. You can put a pipe currency. Later we will learn about pipes. I already told you one pipe uppercase. Here we put a pipe currency and default currency will come in dollar symbol actually. It will come in dollar symbol. Now what you can do is colon, we can put INR. Indian rupee symbol will come. That will be easy. Now we are selecting the amount, how much. We are selecting the years, interest rate and calculate, it will get that. I am decreasing the number of years and it will increase the amount when I click on calculate. We need to adjust that. Calculate, because we are not using two-way binding. Remember, we are using just only one value. It will get that and display. So that is depending on how you are configuring. This is done by using one option. What is that? Here we used events. What are those events? So we used event change. And one more event we used is click. Click. So this is an example. Right? These kind of applications, examples, you must be able to design. If you can create such things, then it is good. Right? First you try this. Then in the next session, I will give you some task. You have to try those tasks. First, if you can do this, then I will give you tasks. First, practice this. Then in the next session, I will give you some tasks. You must try and design them. Okay. That we'll see in tomorrow's session. Tomorrow we will discuss the other events, how to handle them. Okay.